Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Westside Congregation in Rio Rancho. I am Laurel Anderson, your service associate for today. We are very glad to be able to gather both here in our sanctuary and online via video. Please feel free to mask and distance in whatever way makes you feel safe. Our speaker today is the Reverend Dr. Nancy Hitt, our consulting minister. Our program is titled Evolving Empathy. We will be exploring the human capacity for empathy and compassion from a scientific and spiritual perspective. Our service is based on Principle 2, Justice, Equity, and Compassion in Human Relations, and Source 2, Words and Deeds of Prophetic Men and Women, which challenges us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice and compassion and the transferring power of love. We hope your experience here with us enhances your understanding and appreciation of these values in your own life. Our thanks today to Bram Cast-Hecht and Roxy Cast-Hecht, who are our greeters, and to Dana Sanford, who is monitoring our sound system, as well as Carol Elohert, who will lead us in singing, and Steve Poyani, who's videotaping our service. Do we have any first-time visitors who would like to introduce themselves today? Hi.
Hi, I am Marie Bucio, resident of Rio Rancho for 100 years. Welcome.
Welcome. Okay. If you are new to Westside and joining us online today, we welcome you and invite you to explore our website at UUWC.org. Please use the email contacts listed there for your questions and comments. Thank you. Here are the announcements for today. Rio the dog appreciates your gently used newspapers. They may be left in the bin outside in the patio, outside the social hall door. There is also a bin right next to it on the patio and a large basket in the social hall for your Storehouse West contributions of non-perishable foods. Today marks the middle of the month. Both containers are almost empty, so there is plenty of room for your contribution. We need your help. We have people in need of a referral to an estate lawyer. If you have worked with someone who was ethical, sensitive, and knowledgeable, please share their name with Reverend Nancy. Reverend Nancy, that's fine. Sorry. A reminder that Friday at 6:30 is our drum circle. This is our second drum circle since we've opened up again. And you don't even have to bring a drum, just bring yourself. We do have instruments. And we had a lot of fun the last time, so please join us. Also, there is a potluck town hall meeting today directly following our service. We have a full agenda of issues, both big and small, so please stay and participate if that is at all possible. Visitors and guests are also welcome. Please stand as you are able and join me in our lighting of our chalice. It is in your bulletin. As we warm our hearts by our chalice flame, we extend ourselves in love to each other, to our world, and to the universe that surrounds us with life. Blessed be. Please continue with our affirmations.
Life is a gift. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. In the light of truth and in the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is our sacrament, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Shalom.
Please remain standing for our opening hymn, which Carol will lead us.
I invite you now to get comfortable wherever you may be, here in our sanctuary or at home, and to invite me, sure, I'm inviting you. Threw me when she referred to me as doctor. Nobody ever calls me that. However, we're going to join together in a moment for centering. So uncross your ankles, your knees, your wrists. Let the energy flow unimpeded through your body. Center your head over your heart, over your pelvis. Close your eyes if you are comfortable doing so, or choose a focal point for your gaze. Let your mind go blank. Focus your attention on your breathing. Breathing slowly and deeply, in and out, and in and out. Into your mind's eye, let a small point of light appear. Notice that it expands slowly to encompass you, that it extends beyond you. As you look within the sphere of your light, notice the hands that reach out to help you. Adult hands, child hands, the hands of family and friends, the hands of strangers, perhaps of professionals, or even concerned bystanders. Touch each hand in turn and give thanks for it, for the help it offers you. As you stand within your sphere of light, lift both of your own hands in offer to others. Give thanks that you are able to give and to receive help and comfort and care. Pull your hands back into your heart, knowing you bring this awareness of helping and being helped back into your conscious mind. Refocus your attention on your breathing, breathing in and out, and in and out. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Shalom. We invite you now to share your joys and concerns. We will light a candle for each one. Our joys are multiplied, and our concerns are supported as we share them with one another in community. We will read these collected in our basket first, and then offer the mic to anyone who would like it. Those of you participating online may light any personal candles you have whenever you like, or wait until we light our final candle here to speak them aloud. I have two in our basket. The first is a concern from Bram on behalf of Carol McNatt. Carol has had a knee replacement, and she should be in rehab by now. And I can tell you from my nursing days that knees are complicated joints, and replacing them is not fun. So please hold Carol close to your heart. And we also have a joy. Julia is back from her vacation with her family. She's not here this morning, but I have laid eyes on her and I can testify. She is back, she looks wonderful, she's very happy, she had a wonderful trip, and so I asked her, can we light a candle of joy for your safe return? And she said yes, so I look forward to being able to see her in person here. Are there any others that folks, yes, 1 second.
I have a joy after more than a year of having to see him in a little Zoom box. I get to see one of my big brothers today. He's in town visiting my parents, and I get to go play cards with him.
Just thought we would spend a moment of concern for the people of Haiti.
Thank you.
This week was the first week of the Albuquerque Public Schools opening. Oh my gosh, the first day kindergartners came. Exhausting.
I have a concern because of the resurgence of COVID. My stepmom has decided to uninvite many people from my father's memorial service up at Ghost Ranch on September 6th. Only very close friends and family will be there. And I feel concerned for people who had wanted to come and will feel very sad that they cannot.
All right.
Since I'm late, I'm not sure if this was said, but I'm so concerned for the people in Afghanistan who helped our forces, who are probably going to be left there.
Thank you. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I share the concern about Afghanistan. My perspective is, I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Iran, stationed right on the Afghan-Iran border. And the people that I was working with were very much against the government of Iran, and the people just across the border were very much against the so-called government of Afghanistan. So these people they were Sistani, they were common in that area, and they had the shared values and all that. I also had the good fortune to travel across Afghanistan during a time in the late 60s, when the Soviets and the US were in friendly competition during the Cold War. So the Soviets would build a library and we would start a theater company. We would build a road and the Soviets would build a bridge. And so that lasted until about 1973. The people there had the benefits. And it's very distressing to see what's happening. My friends who served there are all gone. I don't have anybody to really share my direct experience with, so I'm feeling kind of isolated at this moment.
Anyone or anything else?
I'd like to light a candle of concern for the two families of the two boys involved in the horrible shooting at the Washington Middle School. Both families are now devastated.
All right, then let's light one last candle for all the joy and concern that we still hold in so many ways in the privacy of our own hearts. Okay. Well then, we will light our red candle. For the victims of racial violence, no matter whether the violence is verbal or physical or systemic. In all of these circumstances, may we speak and act for change till equity among humanity prevails. Shalom. And now I'd like to invite Brand Castheck to come share our animal ministry moment with us.
Animals are perfect creations. When our spirits are next to these wonderful creatures, their energy reflects upon our spirits. We actually feel courageous when the spirit of a lion is near, or strong when an elephant is in our presence. Just like when you are around a person you admire or respect, you can feel the positive energy from that person. Every phylum of angels has totems too, and these angels can call upon animals to intercede on your behalf when you need help or protection. Now this is a kitty, and he says, I like to sneak up behind the cat sitter and hiss when she's watching a scary movie. Boy, can she scream.
Thank you. Okay, our moment for all ages this morning. Well, it's a little bit rowdy, but you'll see why in just a minute. So I'm going to invite Ivy and Kate to come up front here and have a seat right here, so you can see exactly what's going on. Is that okay? Good. All right. We have some special friends with us this morning that we're going to introduce to you, and then they have something to tell you about. So, do you want to go first?
Hello. Hi.
This is Bunny, for the obvious reason.
Hi.
Bunny is little.
Yeah.
Do you think Bunny's cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too. But you know what? My hand won't fit with Bunny, so she of the petite fingers gets the cute puppet. This, do you know what this is?
Rabbit.
Yes, this is a rabbit. In fact, his name is Jack.
Hi, Jack.
He is a jackrabbit.
Hi,
A
Jack.
jackrabbit is a real thing.
Yeah.
And they grow to be much, much bigger than little cotton-tailed bunnies. All right, so, ta-da, he says hi with his ears waving at you. Hey, blink. Okay.
Jack, I gotta go. I have something I have to do. I wish I could stay.
Oh, all right. Well,
But I'll be back soon, I
Okay.
promise.
I will look for you.
Bye.
I'll keep an eye out. Well, I have to tell you that Bunny is my good friend. And so I'm going to sit here and wait, and, oh, you know what I have? Look. What is this?
Carrot.
A carrot, yes. I have a carrot. Can we all see my carrot?
Yeah.
Because carrots are something that both bunnies and rabbits love. Have you ever been able to feed a rabbit a carrot?
Yeah.
Yeah? Did they just chow down with their teeth on it?
Yeah, just yesterday.
Yesterday! That's phenomenal! This is perfect!
And that's a bunny.
Yes, you get to pat the bunny. Well, you know, Jack's fur is pretty soft, and so is Bunny's. Very soft. So, Jack has this carrot. Now, I have a special connection with Jack, so I kind of know what he's thinking. And you know what he's thinking right now?
What?
He's thinking, I have a carrot. I love carrots. But Bunny is coming back. And Bunny is my friend. Should I share my carrot with Bunny? If I do, I won't have a carrot anymore. Or if we split this one, I'm not going to get very much. But I know Bunny really likes carrots. And Bunny's my very best friend. But I don't know. I really, really want this carrot. And probably when Bunny sees it, Bunny's going to want it too. So I don't know what to do. What do you guys think Jack should do?
I think he should split it in half so they each get an equal amount of
And a diplomat is born. We should split it in half so they each get the same amount. Well, you know, we heard Jack say they could split it, but then he'll get less. He's a little worried about not getting as much carrot as he would like.
Jack should hide it.
He should hide it. Ooh, okay, so Jack wants his carrot, he should keep it. Well, you know, I think Jack thinks that's a pretty good, oh no! Nobody can eat it now. It's okay, you can sit down. You don't have to be the housekeeper. But Jack, he dropped the carrot on the floor. We don't want to eat it now, do we? He has no carrot. Well, you know, he's just going to have to sit and wait for Bunny to come back and talk with his friend about something else, because he doesn't have a carrot to even talk about anymore.
Hey, Jack, I'm back.
Whoa! Hey,
Look what
Bunny!
I got.
Bunny, where'd you get that carrot?
I got it in the garden, Mr. McGregor's garden. He didn't see me.
Well, I had one, and I dropped it, and it's gone.
Oh, well, you can have this one. We
Oh.
can share it.
Are you sure?
I'm sure because you're my best friend.
Oh, Bunny, you're my best friend, too.
Aw. Here, have a bite.
Oh, best carrot ever.
Yes, it was good. It was so yummy.
Ta-da.
And it was even better because I shared it with you.
Oh, Bunny, thank you so much. You really are my best friend.
Yes.
The end. Oh, she's applauding. Thank you, Ivy. Now, We're not gonna, I'll pick that up off the floor, but we're not gonna eat it. But do you guys like raw carrots? Yeah? Well, you can go pretend to be bunnies in your seat. Take a couple of carrots. Yep, there you go. That's okay. All righty, thank you very much for your help. Yeah. I'll just cover it.
All right. Well, like the bunnies who give each other the carrots, we rely upon you all in our congregation. Today, as we do every Sunday, we thank you for your gifts of love and commitment. We do this every week because it's important, real, and powerful. Without your support, we could not continue to be West Side together. Whatever your contributions are, we are grateful for them. Thank you for the ways you participate in our lives together. And we'll join in with Nancy in singing From You I Receive.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
Now please stand as you are able and join us in our responsive reading that you will find on the purple sheet in your bulletin. Please stand and face the aisle, face each other.
Face center.
The center aisle. And this side will read the bold print. And
You're with
this-
me over here, we're reading bold print.
And with me over here, we're reading the italicized print, and the bold print will start.
And the last line that is actually bold, we all read together. So, folks, let's start. I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink.
I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me.
I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.
I was homeless, and you sheltered me. I was oppressed, and you liberated me.
I was impoverished, and you supplied me. I was powerless, and you empowered me.
I was hopeless, and you inspired me. I was despised, yet you loved me.
You shared yourself with me.
You shared yourself with me. Together we make each other whole.
Thank you. Please be seated. This service is titled Evolving Empathy. So let's begin by defining those two terms. What does, and this is an open question, I really do want an answer, what does evolving mean? What did she say? I didn't hear her. Okay, somebody else. What does evolving mean?
Forever changing time.
Ooh, things change in time. That's true, they do.
Very good.
What other definitions for evolving would you have?
Growing.
Growing. Terrific. That's what I've got on my page. Go Melinda. Okay, I'll cheat and give you a few. Developing, adapting, changing, and I also had growing. So thank you for that. How about empathy? What does that mean when you hear it? Anybody?
Feeling another's emotions, their pain.
Okay, feeling another's emotions, their pain.
Compassion.
Compassion.
Compassion, yes, yes. Okay, formal definition. Empathy is the capacity to understand or feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. That is, the ability to put ourselves in somebody else's shoes. Types of empathy. Did you know there was more than one? Cognitive, emotional, somatic, and spiritual, which all sound very highfalutin. And we can translate them as thinking, feeling, physical sensation, and spiritual forms of empathy. Now, empathy is connected to, but not the same as, a whole lot of things. For example, compassion, sympathy, pity, feeling, concern, consideration. It's connected to all of those, but they're all just a little bit different. Empathy is the primary root. So how about a one-word answer for this? What's the purpose of evolution?
Survival.
Thank you, yes, Stacy gets an A. You should be hearing survival of the fittest in your head, and survival, that's it. That's what it's all about. So, okay, same sort of question. What's a one-word answer for the purpose of empathy in the context of survival?
Peace. Community?
Community, peace, those are lovely things.
Understanding.
Caring.
Care, those are all good and valid. However, I think the root of it is, it's exactly the same as evolution. It's survival. We have the capacity for empathy in order that we become able to survive. Now, culturally, I know that we are far more accustomed to perceiving hostility, aggression, and violence as perpetuating the survival of our species. It's very easy to see how that works. When survival is threatened, our adrenals prime us with a biochemical cocktail that equips us for flight, fight, or freeze as a response. We can see the protective nature of each of these in dangerous situations. Depending on the circumstances, flight might make the best sense. If it's at all possible and won't precipitate worse consequences later on, flight is a great response to danger. Just get out of Dodge. Or fight makes sense if there is no immediate way out and we need to neutralize or disarm or disempower whoever or whatever is dangerous to us. Just say no. And sometimes, when there is no way out and we have no hope of surviving a fight, freeze makes the most sense. Offer no offense, do not engage, give danger no way to interact with you. Now, how many of you, by show of hands, have been taught that these are the bioprogrammed responses to danger that help us to survive? How many of you heard? Okay, yeah, I really figure most of us have heard this before. While sometimes extreme, these are validated and justified by our need to survive. Not only that, we see these behaviors mirrored in the natural world around us in other species. When I open the patio door beside the bird feeder in my backyard, the pigeons take flight en masse. It is amazing to watch the speed and synchronicity with which they all disappear. Flight works. When I'm walking through the neighborhood and spy a little cottontail bunny on someone's lawn, they freeze. If it weren't for those bright button eyes, they'd look like a rock. Sometimes I've actually passed them before I realized that that lump of what I thought was stone is actually a living bunny. Freeze works. And when my dog perceives the pedestrian on the sidewalk as being an imminent threat of home invasion, she throws herself at the window, barking wildly. She's ready for a fight. Fight works too, although we keep her inside the gate rather than let her act on what nature has prepared her to do. All three of these responses evolved to protect and sustain life. Life in the wild and life in human society. Culturally, we have a particular respect for fight, whether that's a verbal fight or a physical one. We have all sorts of words and weapons to help us fight. We can cuss at people, curse people, intimidate or threaten people all with just our words. We can judge them, diminish them, or disempower them, all with words. We can become the danger that they freeze or flee from, all with our words. And when it comes to weapons, humanity has devoted itself to developing an arsenal of tools designed to destroy our opponents. The list of weapons, from the first stone ever thrown, or the first stick used to club or spear an opponent, from that to modern drones, guns, and germ warfare, that list is too long to review and to name now. We have a lot of weapons. So let's accept that enormous amounts of human creativity and enormous amounts of our planet's resources go into building an arsenal to guarantee our survival. We're really good at it, except we have reached a point where what saves us may actually kill us. Our survival instincts have generated our own demise. Since most of our enemies are our fellow human beings, people just like us who want to survive just as much as we do. Given this reality, you can easily see where empathy doesn't look like an effective tool for survival. Up against all those words and weapons, empathy looks like a fool's mission in the face of all that artillery. Culturally, we often set empathy aside as the domain of saints and sages. Ordinary people can't afford empathy. Ordinary people have too much at stake to indulge in empathy. Standing your ground, taking no prisoners, those things don't include empathy. Empathy is dangerous. Empathy is not normal. It's on a higher plane. Empathy is not natural. Empathy may get you killed. You can kiss your survival goodbye. Empathy is not sufficient against hard, cold weaponry. Or so we've been taught. With hostility as our evolutionary default setting and innumerable weapons to enact it, is it any wonder that our planet is struggling to survive with its current burden of humanity? If all science, or Mother Nature, or whoever you hold accountable for creation could give us, was the natural process of competing and fighting in order to get to procreating and surviving, then our behavior would make excellent sense. It's ultimately self-defeating, though, which explains all of those apocalyptic, Armageddon, end-of-days stories. We can see what's coming, and it's not pretty. But good news, people. God bless Mother Nature or whoever's responsible for evolution, because empathy has been evolving right alongside everything else. It turns out that without empathy, we won't survive. Without empathy, there will be no communities, no families, no happily ever after love stories in our lives. We've been given a faulty bill of goods because half of what we've learned, if not more, is simply false. Empathy is natural. Empathy has evolved within the human species to assist in our survival. We are not the only creatures capable of empathy, although we might be the ones who are best equipped for it. Lots of creatures exhibit empathy. Images of empathy abound in the natural world. Now, many are species-specific. That is, members of one species demonstrate empathy toward other members of their own species. Others cross boundaries. The internet is full of videos of dogs and cats rescuing and caring for birds and bunnies and piglets and squirrels and all sorts of other creatures who were in need when they found them. I saw a picture of a dog with a duckling on its head. The dog had somehow adopted the duckling, and the duckling had made itself very much at home. They were a team. Yesterday I saw a video of a fawn who came up on someone's backyard deck and laid down nuzzling a full-grown house cat. Years ago, I read a story about a blue jay that was observed scavenging for food and then feeding another adult blue jay whose beak had been broken in half. The healthy bird brought food to the injured bird and then placed the food inside the remnant, the stump, of the injured bird's beak. The healthy bird perceived the distress of their fellow blue jay and solved the problem. If those two creatures were human beings, we would have called that empathy. Or what about the stories in which dolphins have helped to rescue people in distress? Dolphins clearly realize the difference between human play and human panic, and on multiple occasions have saved human lives. If another person did that, we'd call it empathy. There are many examples that prove that empathy exists in creatures less evolved or developed than we human beings. The sightings and examples seem to be growing. More and more non-human animals exhibit some form of empathy. It's not exclusive to humanity. That makes it natural. In doing neurological research, scientists have documented the action of what they have named mirror neurons. Part of our human brain reflects or mirrors the circumstances of others into our brain so that it feels to us as if we are in the same position that the other person is. We literally feel their pain, or their joy, or confusion, or fear, or sympathy, or whatever it is that we perceive them to be feeling. Our minds and bodies respond as if there were a live connection between us. There is. We call it empathy. We don't always recognize that what feels to us like our own self-generated ideas and feelings are actually prompted by our perceptions of others. We're usually pretty sure that all of our ideas are our own, but in fact they're not. This ability helps us to understand each other. It helps us to appreciate the needs and concerns of other people. We internalize other people's feelings all the time. This is a very important human skill. Parents wait with delight for their baby's first smile. The proof that recognizing our smiling faces is happening for their baby, and they're smiling back, and there is that live connection. The process can be enhanced or impeded by a zillion different things. It is a complex part of human neurobiology. But this is the root of empathy, the ability to internalize the experiences of others and to perceive what they perceive. It is normal and natural and most likely genetic. Some people are very sensitive to it, and others seem to almost lack the ability completely. For example, researchers hypothesize that sociopathic people lack this ability due to a flaw in how their brains process data. Simply put, the capacity for empathy is a natural phenomenon in human beings. We all have it to a greater or lesser degree. It is not just for the saints and sages. It's not just a noble ideal for high-minded people to embrace. So here's the novel idea I would like us to consider. What if empathy is every bit as natural, as effective, and as important to our survival as self-protective violence and aggression are? In fact, what if our species needs what our species needs to survive is built into us from the start? if we are willing to accept it. It's almost as if we have a built-in secret weapon that we seldom use because we're not quite sure how it works, and we're losing out on what could save us from ourselves. Because most of the dangers on this planet to our species currently come from ourselves. Other humans who think differently or act differently, or dress or speak or eat or work or worship differently. And our well-developed ways of dealing with those differences rely on dynamics of competing and fighting and establishing power and control over each other. The time has come to embrace Plan B, at least if survival is our goal. Here's the thing though, our independence as we see it is at stake when we think about empathy. If we acknowledge and accept that our thoughts and feelings are not exclusively our own, we feel diminished, unoriginal. We do not want to be clones. That is anathema for us. We want to be designer originals, in which we are both the designer and the original, a one-of-a-kind marvel. Empathy compromises our independence. We often actively resist the awareness that we're connected to each other deeply and meaningfully. You know, we are a lot like those aspen trees that Carol told us about a while back that share a common root system that we can't see. We look at a whole forest of aspen trees and we see a collection of a lot of similar, independent and individual trees. Ha! The aspen trees know better. They know that they are connected through what is not seen, their root system. And even though each tree is just one tree, they are all connected at another whole level as a community. As trees go, they've got empathy down to a science. But we humans actually think it's good to be alone, despite all of the scientific evidence and wisdom down through the ages to the contrary. So here's the biggest news of the day that I have for you. We are not alone. We are not meant to be alone. Complete independence is a handicap. It is a ruse that arrests our development. We are relational beings. We thrive in relationship. In fact, we die without it. So here is what we actually are. We are interdependent. From the minute we're born, we interact and build relationships with other people in order to survive. Human infants die without interpersonal relationships that stimulate their individual growth and development. And we never outgrow our need for other people. Are we capable of being hermits and living by ourselves? Yes. But very few of us do it, and of those who do, even fewer do it well, without compromising their humanity. So Barbara Streisand sang it. Remember? People who need people, what's the next? Are the luckiest people in the world. Yes. You know, this actually is present in our culture. I'm doing this is my weaving thing, you know, it's woven in together. It is part of who we are. Because when we know ourselves to be interdependent, we know that we are individuals who can be connected to each other. And those connections are the most important things in our lives. Empathy builds community. It keeps greed and hate and lust in check. It motivates compassion and it strengthens love. Imagine for just a minute if you had no capacity for empathy. How would you know that whoever the beloved person in your life is, how would you know they really loved you if you didn't have any capacity for empathy and could not pick up on that? seriously, the world would be a radically different place, and not for the better. Empathy is what will ensure our survival as a species and the survival of the planet as well, because pretty much if we go, we're probably going to take it with us in the process. Not good. Now, I know that I'm a little crazy, and I'm really hoping that maybe you are too. I want to save the world. One person, one family, one congregation, one town, state, nation, planet at a time. I just want to save the world, whatever that means. Weapons and competition are not going to do that. Empathy, compassion, and cooperation can. Scientists have documented the evolution of empathy. Empathy is still evolving today. We have a choice: facilitate that or resist that. Life or death. Now, our UU sources call us to challenge the structure of evil with compassion and the transforming power of love. Those are not the usual weapons that human beings choose. Our principles call us to compassion in human relations. Please note that it does not say human relationships, which would have a specific focus and context, but rather relations. That means we are holding ourselves accountable for compassion in everything we relate to. And we relate one way or another to everything, because that's how we describe what human beings do. We relate. Evolving empathy means choosing compassion first and always and exclusively. It is happening. The radical call to social justice the whole world over, the rejection of power over others as the best model for human living. Seriously, have you thought about it? When was the last time you heard somebody saying we should bring back the medieval kings? We have evolved in our thinking about what the best social structure is for human beings to live in. The demand for equity in housing and healthcare and education and work and participation in the arts and government, all of these are signs that empathy is evolving. Our paradigms for finding meaning and continuing to survive are changing. We are not. Humanity is not the dead end, nor are we the crowning glory of an evolutionary process. We are part of it, interdependent and interacting, evolving. May you, may all of us as a big we, be part of that hope that evolution embodies. Shalom and amen. And per usual, I haven't quite hit the timing the way I wanted to, because I really wanted to hear what you had to say. And we do have a closing hymn, but I'm going to vote, since the kids are happily occupied at the moment. Does anybody have a comment that they'd like to make or something? Stacy? Carol, can, yeah, just grab the mic for her. Thank you.
Working with children as long as I have, I've always had to shake my head at the adults who say that babies and young children don't know what empathy is. Because if you're in a room full of babies and one starts crying, they all cry. But the mobile babies will make their way to the child that started crying, and they will pat them and try to comfort them in the same way that they are comforted by the adults.
Yeah.
And another example, many years ago, family I was working with, the oldest was in the 4 to 5-year-old preschool class at a little Jewish temple not too far from where we lived. And in her class was a little boy who was very allergic to peanuts. And his mother had sent out a list of all foods that were cross-contamination risks, and asked that all parents would put a P on their child's lunch if it contained any of these foods, because then this little boy knew he couldn't even sit at the table with them. Well, he was not there the first day of school. He had a doctor's appointment. And unbeknownst to the teachers, all of these little 4 and 5-year-olds, 15 of them in the class, got together and they set up their own schedule for what days they could bring a pea lunch so he would never have to sit alone. It was 4 months before the adults figured it out.
That's wonderful, yes. We are biologically equipped for this. It's time we just sort of grabbed it with all the gusto we have and worked just as ardently. Can you imagine if we had as many words for empathy as we have for violence and aggression and hostility? If we had as many tools as we have currently got weapons, tools that help to engineer, engender, whatever, to bring empathy about. All right, my eye's on the clock and I don't see any other hands, so thank you. But this is something that we really need to think very consciously and deliberately about. And at this point, if you will consciously and deliberately stand as you're able and open your hymnal to number 148, we will sing Let Freedom Span Both East and West. 148. Now I invite you to open your bulletin or to use the words on your screen if you were viewing this online, and join me in the words printed there as Laurel extinguishes our chalice. May we recognize our chalice flame in many forms within all humanity. May we love and be loved as all of us have need. May life prevail. Shalom and amen. Risk evolution. Be aware of what you feel, of what others feel. Hold it in your heart, consider it in your mind, and act on it with the compassion born of empathy. Go, be human, change the world. Blessed be. And although it's not in your bulletin, just face each other across that center aisle and we will sing our closing song, which is Go Now in Peace. You good? Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go to the social hall and we get to eat potluck stuff and have lots of conversation.
Oh boy, oh boy.